Hello, you putneys and estrons out there. This is Grandpa Jim, and it's parshas chayei Sarah, 5778. I hate when this happens. You know, you gotta cut some meat, and all you got is a parv knife. I don't want to bother to stand up, walk 7 feet to the drawer, and pick up a meat knife. Gotta be an easier way. I can do it. I know I can do it. Parv to meat. Parv to meat. This is kosher alchemy. Parv to meat. Ah, it worked. Astounding. Okay, I'll do another one a little later by the end of the show. Parshas chayei Sarah. The life of Sarah. Sarah's lifetime was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. The years of Sarah's life. In case you didn't catch that, that's how long she lived. Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to eulogize Sarah, that's to speak praise of her, and to bewail her, to cry out about it. Abraham rose up from the presence of his dead. That means he took off his mourning garments, he put his shoes back on, and he washed his face and he put on a happy face, because we don't bring our sorrow into somebody else's life. And he spoke to Bnei Ches, the people who lived there, and he said, I'm an alien and a resident among you. Grant me an estate for a burial site with you, that I may bury my dead from before me. Ironic, Hashem tells Abraham, you're going to own all of Eretz Canaan, and the rice is going to boil over.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay, I hope you can hear me over the rice. So, Abraham was promised, you're going to get this whole land. And then Sarah dies, and he has to go and beg these Bnei Ches, can I please have some land? So they sold him Kever Machpelah. This is what it looks like today. Yael and I went there before we made Aliyah. We went to see Eli and Jonah in Yeshiva, and then somebody said, hey, you want to go see Kever Machpelah? And we said, sure. We got on a bus, and they said, now, even though it's bulletproof glass, don't sit too close to the window. And the guy got on with the rifle, and away we went. We got there, and some of the people who lived nearby started showing us the bullet holes in their trailers, and then we went down to a part of town, and they said, well, don't stand over there, because the guys with the rifles can hit you from there, so stand over here. We didn't know what we were getting into. So it's a place of peace and beauty and brotherhood of all mankind. So that's what it looks like today. This palace was built by Suleiman the Magnificent about 1,000 years ago. Rambam was a physician to Suleiman. He had fights with the Christians over who's going to run Eretz Yisrael. There were 4 of these minarets. Now there's only 2. He built this thing, but originally it probably looked more like this. A hole that somebody dug in a rock. These are all over Israel. I've been in a bunch of them. They have these places where they would put the dead people, and then they'd roll this stone. This is an old grinding stone that didn't work anymore, and they'd roll it over here so the animals couldn't get in. This picture was taken 100 years ago when the Arabs were in charge, and the Jews were allowed to go all these steps up to the kever. They were allowed to go up 7 steps. And then there were some riots, and they killed a bunch of Jews, and then they were allowed to go up 6 steps. And now the whole area is under the control of the Arabs again, but Jews are allowed to go in 10 days a year up into the building. One of those days is parshas chayei Sarah. So, Abraham bought this from Bnei Ches, and then he buried Sarah in here. So now I'm going to make it into a proper kever. Do you know why there's a fence around cemeteries? That's right. So people dying to get in. So first, Sarah Mino died. And so Abraham puts her in the kever. And then, of course, Abraham himself eventually died. And his sons put him in there. And then Yitzhak died. So he got buried in Kever Machpelah. And then his wife Rivka died. She got buried there. Hard to get in. And then Yaakov died, and Yosef and his sons brought him up from Mitzrayim, Egypt, to bury him there. And his wife Leah was also buried there. And his wife Rachel wasn't buried there. She was buried on the road to Bethlehem. And we'll talk about that in another year, later on in the future. But the strangest thing is, also some say that Adam and Chava, the first two people, were buried there, and that's why Abraham wanted it to bury Sarah. Esau, Yaakov's evil brother, and we'll get into this when we get up to Parshas Vayechi. He wasn't buried there, but sort of. See, when they were burying Yaakov, there was a fight, and one of the grandsons of Yaakov didn't understand what was going on. We'll talk about it more later. And so he took out his sword, and he cut off Esau's head. And it rolled into the kever, right on top of his father, Yitzchak. So, Rachel doesn't get buried there. Esau's head gets buried there. We'll explain that someday. Okay. Check the list here, because we won't forget anything. The wheat. Here, can you stand a second and let's see how our wheat is growing. Oh, it takes a long time for this to come up. But, wheat is kind of like an egg. It gets separated from the mother plant or the mother hen, and then you have to plant it or leave it somewhere, and then eventually it'll become a reproduction of what came from before. A stalk of wheat, a chicken, whatever. Okay. So that's what else do I gotta do? Kforim. So this is how these things are all over the country. In fact, up in Haifa, on the way to Haifa on the highway, there's one place you walk in. It's a Crusader fort, and they have inside there, big room. They used to bury their dead. Okay. Okay. Now, one last little magic trick. Okay. So for this magic trick, I need my egg. Can you come again and take? Uh-oh. Where's the egg? It crawled away. Eggs don't crawl. That's not an egg. That's not an egg. This is like a barb knife and a meat knife. You want something and you need it right away, and No. Gotta be in here somewhere. Where's my egg? Oh wait, I did this. I left out an important step. First you gotta look in the bag and see that in fact the bag is empty. Okay, so then we put all the fruit in here and we take 4 fruits. It takes 4 fruits to make 1 egg. Did you know that? And then we go, where's my barb knife? You gotta use a barb knife for this because it's an egg. Bang! Bada bee boom. And then, miraculously, here comes my egg. Okay, so now I can make dinner for Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.